Imagine being born into royalty with a crown placed on your head, only to discover you were never meant to exist. What if your life was built on a lie and at any moment your identity could collapse? This is not fiction. This is the true story of a prince who should never have existed and still ruled. Welcome to the prince who should never have existed but still wore the crown. Our story begins in the late 15th century, just after one of the most chaotic periods in English history, the Wars of the Roses. A brutal power struggle had ripped through the kingdom for decades, with the House of York and the House of Lancaster fighting for control of the English throne. Kings were made then killed. Princes disappeared. Families turned on each other. Amid this chaos, a young man suddenly appeared in Brittany. He had a royal face, a noble accent, and a bold claim. His name? Perkin Warbeck. His claim? That he was Richard of York, the younger of the two princes in the Tower. The same princes who had vanished years earlier under mysterious circumstances while under the care of their uncle, Richard III. Nobody had seen the boys alive again. Most believed they had been murdered. But now here stood a man who said, "I am not dead, I escaped, and I am the rightful king." People listened. Nobles whispered. Hope reignited. Perkin Warbeck was not just a good speaker. He was convincing. He had charm, poise, and royal mannerisms that made even his enemies pause. Some said he had the same eyes as Edward IV. Others said his knowledge of royal court life was too detailed to be faked. Soon, powerful people were offering their support. King James IV of Scotland even gave him a bride, Lady Catherine Gordon, and referred to him as His Grace. He wore royal robes, was escorted by guards, and had a full court of advisors. He did not just pretend to be a prince, he lived like one. But with power came pressure and questions. Whispers began. Is he truly Richard or just another fraud? This was not the first time someone had tried this. A few years earlier, Lambert Simnel, a young boy, had claimed to be a royal heir. He too had gained support. He too had been used by nobles. Eventually, Simnel was exposed, and instead of being executed, he was given a job in the royal kitchens. But Warbeck was different. He was older, smarter, more dangerous. He did not want a kitchen, he wanted a crown. He marched toward London in 1497, leading nearly 1,000 men. It was a direct challenge to King Henry VII, the man who had taken the throne after defeating Richard III. For a moment it looked like he might succeed, but fate turned. His army broke apart. Men fled. He was forced to run. Still, he did not give up. He launched two more invasions, trying to land in Cornwall and Kent. Both failed. Bad weather and bad luck followed him like shadows. As his forces disappeared, so did the lies, or maybe the truth. A chronicler of the time wrote, "He wore royal robes, yet beneath them he carried a counterfeit heart. Behind palace doors, even his supporters began to doubt him. Was he a lost prince or a puppet built from hope?" Eventually, Warbeck was captured. He was brought before King Henry VII, who had one goal: to destroy his legend. Henry offered a deal: confess, and your life and the lives of your family might be spared. Perkin stood firm at first. He looked Henry in the eye and said, "I am Richard. I am the rightful king." But pressure breaks even the strongest voices. Eventually, Perkin confessed. He said he was not Richard. His real name, he admitted, was likely the son of a Flemish official, a boy raised around nobles, trained in manners, a talented actor. The king released his confession publicly to destroy all belief in the lost prince. But despite the confession, Perkin was still a danger. Some nobles still believed in him. Others feared he could become a symbol, a ghost to rally around. So Henry made a brutal choice. In 1499, Perkin Warbeck was executed for treason. He was hanged, not beheaded, a death reserved for commoners, not royalty. The message was clear. You were never a prince, you never had a crown, and you never should have existed. But the mystery did not die. Some nobles claimed the confession was forced, that Perkin had protected someone, maybe even the real Richard. There were reports of expensive gowns, letters, and tokens that only a real royal could have owned. Some believed he was a tragic figure. Others saw him as a clever fraud. Even centuries later, historians still ask, was he telling the truth, or was he the greatest actor in royal history? Perkin Warbeck may have died a criminal, but he lived like a king. He fooled nobles, married a lady, built a court, wore armor, commanded armies, and for nearly a decade, he shook the throne of England. Was it ambition? Was it a plan built by power-hungry men behind him? Or was it a desperate boy clinging to a dream? We may never know who he was, but his story reminds us that identity can be both a gift and a weapon, that history is written by those in power and erased by those who fear the truth. So ask yourself, would you have believed him? Would you have followed him into battle? Or would you have turned away in doubt, even if part of you wondered? Tell me in the comments. What would you have done in his place? Would you survive a royal nightmare where even your name could get you killed? If this story shocked you, hit like and subscribe, because the next story is darker than myth and truer than legend. History is not just about kings and crowns. It is about people who dared to wear the wrong mask and paid the price.